In this video, we are talking about whether more money brings about more happiness, and we are starting right now. Millions of Americans every single day dream about having more money so they can buy that new phone or that new TV or that new surround sound system. Or they want to upgrade their car, buy a new car, buy that bigger car, that faster car. Or they want to buy that house, that bigger house, or that house in that one neighborhood, or that house that overlooks the ocean on the bluffs there, or even that beach house, the one right on the sand you can dig your feet into. Well, we all have dreams and we all want more money for whatever reason it is, because society, the society that we live in, pushes us to want more things and more money. We've all been there. The anticipation, the waiting, the wanting for something that only money can buy. And we think about it in our head and we dream about it, and what we dream about and what we think about when we get that object, whatever it might be. So for instance, if we want a new car, we think of how happy we will be when we buy that new car. Or if we think about a new house, or if we think about that new phone, when we think about that and how we're going to interact with that phone or that TV and how much joy or happiness it's gonna bring, we think about that right now, and we're portraying how happy we're gonna be with that device. And we do that because society constantly advertises to us every single day when we're walking down the street, riding the bus, driving our car, billboards, advertisements on TV, Netflix, on our phones. Everywhere we go, we are bombarded with advertisements that tell us we will be happy if we buy this, if we consume that. It's going to bring us happiness. And because of that, we equate money equals happiness. So in this episode, which is the first episode in a series that I am doing about building wealth, if you missed the intro video, make sure you click in and watch that. And if you want more videos, make sure you click the subscribe button, click the bell so you're alerted every single time I publish a new video on building wealth. So we are talking about, does money bring happiness? Can we buy happiness with money? Now, before we jump into it, I want to hear from you. Open up those comments and let me know, do you think money can buy happiness? And if so, how? Show me how you feel money can buy happiness. We have been conditioned by marketers to equate money to happiness. If I have this money and I buy your product, I am gonna be more happy. Now, the thing that happens is we buy a product and we determine that we are happy maybe with that initial purchase, but that happiness starts to wear down and it starts to decline. So when we buy things, we are only happy for a certain period of time. Now, what scientists have found that when we make a large purchase, say a car, that happiness might stick around for a month. However, when we buy smaller things, we still get that spike in happiness, but we're able to keep our happiness higher because we can buy more small things with the same amount of money that, say, we could buy with a car. So if you were to buy small things frequently, then your happiness would stay up. And we can't really talk about this without bringing up the whole topic of the hedonic treadmill. As we buy things with our money, each time that we do it, it puts us at a certain peak of happiness. And then the next time that we spend money on something, it might bring us up almost to the same peak. We might have to spend a little bit more money to buy something bigger or better or different to get that same effect. And then over the course of time, maybe a month, maybe a week, maybe a couple of days, that happiness wears down. Now, scientists have studied this and found that this actually occurs. So if you have money and you want to buy things with it, it is going to give you a boost in happiness. But that happiness is not something that's going to stick around long term. It's a short-term happiness. It gives you happiness in that moment, and then it is fleeting. So if you're going to spend a large chunk of money on something, you're going to have a large ticket item that you're going to pay a lot of money for. Most people can't buy cars every single month, so it's a one-time purchase. And your happiness will slowly decrease. You'll realize, oh, my new car just got a dent, or my car is dirty, or somebody spilled something in the car, or the leather got ripped, or you come back from parking it at the mall and somebody dinged your car and it begins to lose that newness. That new car smell begins to disappear. Same thing, when you buy something small, you get that same spike in happiness. However, you can buy a lot more of those smaller ticket items with less money. So you're gonna get those spikes that way. Now, before we look at the studies that are backed by science as to how money can buy happiness, I wanna ask the question as to why you want more money, because most of the time we are conditioned by society, by advertisements, that we need more money to be happy. So our goal is just more money. When in turn, a lot of that happiness that we get in life is from the journey in life itself, going down and thinking about what that vacation is gonna be like, or the process to get there, not necessarily the destination. So I want you to think about the why. Why do you want that money? Why do you want a raise at work? Why do you want a certain neighborhood? Why do you want a certain device? Think about that why. And you really want to define that why. Why do you want more money? Because as we look at the studies that scientists have done, you might have enough money right now, you're just not spending it correctly to bring the happiness that you need in your life. Learn how to spend your money properly to maximize the amount of happiness that money that you currently have can bring you. So that age-old question as to whether more money brings more happiness is actually really complicated. But I know something that will actually bring you and me happiness right now if you smash that like button. Go ahead, do it right now. No, really, smash that like button. Does money bring happiness is actually a complicated question, because if we look at somebody that's making, say, $20,000 a year and they more than double their income to $50,000 a year, it's gonna more than double the amount of happiness that they have in their life because they have a little bit more money to spend on things. So does money buy happiness? In this case, it does, but only to a point. Money does not bring about long-term happiness, like I mentioned, but it does allow you to not stress about things in your life, and you can start focusing on other things in your life that may bring you happiness and joy. Part of being happy is also a mindset. Like I mentioned, there's people making not that much money and they're happy. It's a mindset. So if you choose in your mind to be happy, you wake up, maybe you don't make a lot of money, but you can still choose to be happy. There is something called the happiness ceiling, which occurs anywhere from $75,000 on up to $90,000 to $105,000 a year, depending on where in the United States you live. So once you hit that annual income, your happiness from money that you make is not going to increase. Meaning, if I make more money than, say, $75,000 a year or $105,000 a year, I'm not going to see an increase in my happiness because of that. But we're gonna talk about some ways that you can increase your happiness still with money. Now, the reason why somebody making $75,000, $85,000, $105,000 a year hits this happiness ceiling and they are happier because they are making more money is because they've reduced the amount of financial anxieties in their life. When something breaks, they get a flat tire, their engine blows, the dryer breaks, their roof breaks, whatever it might be, they have more money to fix that problem. They don't have to worry as much. They don't have anxiety about paying their rent. They don't have anxiety about paying their mortgage, paying their taxes, putting food on the table, buying clothes. They have enough money to buy the basic essentials and necessities to live comfortably and have a nice life. So there you have it. Wait. No, there's more. But before we do that, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. What we're gonna be looking at next is how money does buy happiness, and you don't have to be a millionaire or a multimillionaire to get that happiness. And that's good news. Like I mentioned, there's that hedonic treadmill. When we buy something with our money, we get happier, and then it starts to wear off, we have to buy something else, and that cycle just repeats itself. So instead of buying things, what you should spend your money on are memorable experiences. Do you remember a vacation you had growing up? Do you remember a vacation last year, the last couple years? Those vacations or those experiences that you spent money on are gonna be memorable to you and provide joy and happiness longer than if you spent that money on a gadget. If you go spend $1,000, $2,000 on some device, a camera, a phone, a TV, a sound system, That's gonna give you a short-term level of happiness, and then it's gonna wear off. However, if you spend that same amount of money on an experience, that experience, you're gonna film it, you're gonna take photos of it, you're gonna remember it, you're also gonna hopefully share that experience with other people around you. So that experience creates an immense amount of happiness, and you didn't have to make more money to have that experience, but you've raised your happiness level. Now, this goes without saying, obviously you have to make a certain amount of money to be able to have those experiences. I remember backpacking Europe and staying in hostels and meeting people on the fly, jumping on trains to go from here to there, and it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool experience, and I remember that experience that I had. It cost money. Obviously, I wasn't traveling and staying in 5-star hotels and Hiltons and Marriotts around the world, but I still had a really good experience. So even though I wasn't spending a lot of money on it, I still was able to create that happiness. So there's a lot more happiness that can be bought with the money when we have experiences instead of buying objects or buying material possessions. Also, if you look in your garage, how messy is your garage? I am not showing you my garage, but if you want to see it, you can see a little bit of it in this video right here. So instead of spending your money on material possessions, you want to spend your money on experiences. Go travel the world, have an experience with somebody, a family member, a spouse, a child, a parent, whatever it might be, a friend. Go have an experience. That's going to give you joy. Also, here's another way that money can actually buy you happiness. As you earn more money and you have a little bit more discretionary money to spend, use some of your money to learn a new skill. Hire an instructor to teach you how to do something. You could hire an instructor to help you with exercising. You can hire an instructor to teach you photography or to teach you to surf. Whatever skill you want to learn, that's going to actually increase your happiness because you're learning something. You're experiencing something new by learning it. And when you spend that money on learning something new, you are using money to increase your happiness. You also could use your money to start a new hobby. There's a lot of hobbies out there that cost a lot of money. So by having more money, you may be able to break into certain hobbies that you wouldn't have been able to without that money. And by doing so, by having a hobby, something that you can invest time in, that actually is going to increase your happiness level. Now make sure you stay to the very end. I've got a tip that scientists say boosts your happiness by 50%. So you want to stick around all the way to the end for that. This next way that money buys happiness is only possible if you have money, if you're already buying the basic necessities of life. And that is to support causes that you're passionate about. If you're just living paycheck to paycheck and you don't have a lot of money, you're not going to be able to support different causes with your money. When you financially support causes and give them money, it actually provides a sense of fulfillment. Scientists have found that you are happier when you support causes. You're also seeing an impact with that money. So when you donate money to a cause and you see a well being built in Africa, you can see the people that are impacted by that well, and you can see how their lives are changed. And that provides an immense amount of fulfillment and brings you happiness. And that's something that you cannot do if you don't have money. So when somebody asks you, hey, money doesn't buy happiness, yes, actually, money does buy you happiness. And we've already talked about a couple. Not only buying material things does bring you short-term happiness, but giving your money away brings happiness. Also, when you have money and a friend or a family member is in need and you can help them out, that also provides a sense of fulfillment or happiness because you're able to help them out of a certain situation. You can see the help that you're giving them and you can see the impact in their life that it has. So if they need a new car and you have enough money to buy them a new car, not loan them money for a new car, but give them the money for a new car. Or whatever that might look like in your life. Maybe they just need a lunch. Maybe they need a place to stay for a little bit. Whatever that looks like, if you have the money in your budget, in your life, that actually is gonna give you more happiness to help somebody. And without a certain amount of wealth, it's hard to do any of these things. It's hard to help support a charity or donate money if you don't have enough money to cover your basic necessities. If you don't have a certain amount of wealth, it's hard to help other people and give them money so that they can go eat. It's hard to pay somebody to teach you how to play a guitar or to teach you how to play the drums or to drive a NASCAR around a track. It's hard to do these things if you don't have enough money for the basic necessities in life. Without a certain amount of wealth, it's hard to spend thousands of dollars to go to some island, to have some experience with your family on the beach, flying in a helicopter, hiking up a cliff, or sailing along the coast. There's another way that money can actually buy happiness, and that is by buying more time. See, we're all stuck here with 24 hours a day. That's something that we all have in common. We all have 24 hours in a given day, and we don't get any more, we don't get any less, no matter who your name is or how much money you make. Now, the difference between somebody that makes $20,000, $100,000, $1 million is what they can spend their money on. And somebody that makes more money or has a greater wealth can pay people to do things that they don't want to do, which in turn gives them more time. So if I don't like to do dishes, or if I don't like to do laundry, or if I don't like to clean my house, or if I don't like to maintain my own car and change the oil, I can hire somebody to do all of those things for me, and that's gonna save me time. So I can exchange my wealth, my money, to buy more time, and that time that I just bought, I can go do a hobby. I can learn a new skill. I can go donate to a charity. I can go have an experience. And all those other things will bring me more happiness, science says anyway. So in that case, when you spend that money, you are buying happiness. As you can see so far, money can buy happiness. And this next item is also something that you can purchase with money, and that is art. If you put art around your house, then that's actually gonna bring you more happiness. Let's say you're on a vacation and you see a piece of artwork, you really like it. It's a statue or it's a painting. You buy it, you bring it home and you put it on your wall, you put it on your desk, wherever it might be. Every single time you look at that piece of art, it's gonna remind you of your experience, that trip. And it's gonna bring up all those happy thoughts that you had while you're on that trip. So art brings us happiness as well. But remember, most people are not buying art with their money unless they have a certain amount of wealth built up already, because they're worried about necessities, paying the monthly rent, paying the mortgage, paying food, the bills. So this is why having more wealth allows you to have a little bit more financial freedom to spend on charities, to spend on new skills, to spend on different experiences or art, and freeing up more of your time. So if you think more money is gonna bring you happiness, yeah, you're partly correct. However, it's gonna be highly dependent on how you spend your money. If you spend it on buying things, then it's not going to increase your happiness over a long period of time. And if your goal is just to amass more and more and more and more money and make more money, then what's gonna happen is your lifestyle is going to adjust over time as you make more money, and your happiness is not gonna go up. So knowing what to spend your money on to bring you the most amount of happiness is important. And as I've mentioned in this video, buying things is not gonna bring about that lasting amount of happiness that you're probably looking for. And if you made it this far and you're waiting for that last tip that science has found to bring people 50% more happiness, this is it. But before we get to that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click that bell, smash that like button, because I'm producing more videos in this series to teach you about building wealth. You're gonna wanna know about that, so make sure you are subscribed and you have those notifications turned on. Science has found that when you have 5 or more close friends or family, you are 50% more happy. So what does this mean with your money? That means go throw parties for your friends, go on lunch dates, go on dinner dates, stay connected to people. I know we live in a day and age where we've been quarantined for so long and it's so hard to connect with people. However, if you want to make sure that you get that 50% boost in happiness, you need to keep connecting with people. So there you have it. Now you know the answer to that age-old question on whether money can buy happiness. And I want to hear from you. Have you spent your money to create experiences, to learn new hobbies, to buy art? Open up those comments and let me know. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm gonna put a link to the next video in the series, which is the first thing you should be doing to build wealth. And if you missed the intro to this series, make sure you watch that. I'll put a link to it right here. And if you wanna learn how to develop your dreams into goals and achieve them, click into this video right here. And I will see you on the next video.
As always, thanks for watching. Make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment.